how should Muslims be interpreting what's happening right now in the Middle East?
Yeah, okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. First of all, let us look at it from a macro perspective. From a macro perspective, in brief, the United States, along with Israel, I don't want to use the word so-called Israel every time, that's known. They just want to control the Middle East. Okay, that's it. Control the Middle East, and they don't want any country to, as they say, to pose a threat to Israel. But Israel to pose a threat against all of them, that's fine. Under the so-called security of Israel and the right of Israel to defend itself, they don't mind in committing genocide as it happened in Gaza. They don't mind in killing others as they have done, assassinated so many people. And they all use the justification that Israel has the right to defend itself, or Israel has the right to protect itself. It is not like this. They just want the Middle East to be subservient. The Middle East, all of it, especially the Gulf countries, to be subservient to them. In fact, they want this. They want to see this in the whole world, especially America under the administration of Trump. They don't want, as Trump keeps saying, that we have the best army in the world. No one can stand against us, etc. They want to see this in the whole world. That's why they want to destroy, if they can, make China in particular subservient to them, and if they can control China, dominate China, they will do. They will do that. But in particular, the Middle East. Why the Middle East? Because Israel is there. Middle East is controlling the main straits of the world. We have Bab el-Mandab, we have Suez Canal, we have Hormuz Strait, and partially the Moroccan one. Okay, so because of this, it is a very strategic, from a geopolitical perspective, it is a very strategic area. Let alone that the Middle East, they believe in Islam, and Islam for them is the only religion or way of life that is able to challenge them, and that is not going to bow for their agenda. Okay, on top of that, as you know, the Gulf, they possess, I forgot the exact percentage of petrol in the world. Yeah. Now, this is in a nutshell. In a nutshell, they want all countries to be subservient to them. Now, see. Now there is. I read some reports that said that this particular war or aggression against Iran, they meant it as a preparation to be ready to face China. Why is this? Because China is heavily dependent on the Gulf petrol, whether from Saudi Arabia or from Iran. Although some people said that it imports just 15% from the Iranian petrol, yeah, and it imports something similar to this from Saudi Arabia, and most of the imports of China, most of the petrol that China imports is coming from the Soviet Union. There is actually some people who challenge this, and they said, look, America controlled Venezuela, yeah, and they kidnapped the president, the Venezuelan president, and they are trying to control Venezuela, and they managed to somehow to control Venezuela. Now they want to control the Gulf. The Gulf, they know that the only country that is giving them headache is Iran. So they want to destroy Iran, the Iranian regime, to make it subservient to them. Once they do this, then they are ready to face China, and moreover, they will be able to squeeze, or to strangle China, because China now will face major petrol supplies, major shortages in terms of petrol supplies because of the Gulf. So this is from a geopolitical perspective. Now, many analysts also, they say that it is motivated, this war is a biblical motivated war. That's why they chose the 28th of February, which is the second day is like, or the second days, they are like Eid or celebrations for the Jewish people, where they won the battles against the Persian king who used to mistreat them. Okay, so there is an element of this. I can say that, and this is my way of looking at matters like this, I say that all possibilities are there. Yeah, and maybe all of them are valid at the same time. That's it.
Let's, brothers and sisters, send in your questions to the Sheikh. There's a few questions like this one. Should Sunni Muslims be happy of the death of Khamenei? He's responsible for much devastation in the Middle East. However, some people say that Iran is holding up a greater threat. Muslims are mourning Khamenei's death, whilst others are celebrating due to Iran's crimes in Syria. What shall we do?
Yeah, this is even in my mosque, many people ask this question, and I don't know, brothers and sisters, I will answer this. I answered it in the masjid, okay, and I answered it to some people as well. But what I want to say, why are we concerned about this issue while it is not the main question? Whether we are happy, we are not happy. Yeah, this is not the main question. Leaders think about the future. So we should think of what we should do in order to protect ourselves as a number one, and number two, to flourish and to challenge this hegemony by Israel and America behind it. And as I always say, now Muslims have a golden opportunity to present Islam to the whole world. This should be what occupies our minds, not whether we should be happy, we should not be happy. Although I can answer this question, but maybe later, because if I answer it now, most of the questions will be around that issue, because people are very, very emotional when it comes to such questions.
You wrote a few years ago an article, Sheikh, just how to react to the death of evil people. But here, are you saying that basically, when one group that's responsible for mass killing of Muslims attacks another group that's responsible for mass killing of Muslims, we're thinking one element is the happy or not, but what they're really getting at is the morality of the issue.
Okay. See, let me answer the question, not that is related to the killing of Ali Khamenei, but how to see the situation now. Are we happy to see Iran destroyed? Okay. Although I strongly believe that this is not the main issue that we should be worried about, because it doesn't make that much difference. We should think of what we need to do as an ummah. Okay, in all levels. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, regarding Iran, I said before, and I keep saying it, when we want to evaluate a situation, we should evaluate it from a macro perspective. Yes, from a macro perspective. What does that mean? This means that we need to consider the consequences of what is happening or what has happened. In Sharia, there is a rule that says al-umuru bima'alatiha. Matters are judged according to the outcome or consequences. And in the Quran, Allah Jalla wa Ala prohibited us from insulting the gods of the disbelievers, because insulting their gods in some circumstances will lead to insulting Allah Jalla wa Ala. So Sharia looked at the consequence. ولا تسبوا الذين يدعون من دون الله فيسبوا الله عدوا بغير علم. There are so many examples. Also Sharia says إلا من أكره وقلبه مطمئن بالإيمان. The believer is allowed to utter words of kufr if that is going to save his life. If he knows that if he doesn't utter those words of kufr, there is a likelihood for him to be killed. So Sharia allowed him. I can give so many examples about, I don't want to, I don't like to use it, but sometimes I use it, this pragmatic nature of Sharia, which is looking at the consequences. And the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. Each person will get what he intended. So the consequences are considered. Now, both, of course, Israel committed genocide in Gaza, and they've been committing they committed many genocides before, for the past 77 years or more, many genocides. And unfortunately, so many people are unaware of this. Yes. So this is well known, what Israel is committing and what Israel has committed and what Israel wants to achieve. So this is Israel. Now, again, I don't want to keep saying the so-called Israel. Now, Iran, they also committed a genocide in Syria, or they funded the genocide, or they contributed to that. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties of the legal definition of the word genocide. But in Syria, almost 1 million people were killed in the last 12 or 13 years, let alone half of the people were expelled. And this is well known. Who funded that? Who helped to do that? Iran. And this is not the first genocide that they have committed. In 1984, Amal, it is a Shia sect funded by Iran, committed crimes or genocide, call it whatever, mass killing in Sabra wa Shatila in Beirut in Lebanon, let alone the massacres Iran committed in Iraq since 2003 after the outset of Saddam Hussein. So this is well known. Now, that we and of course, ideologically, we have fundamental issues with the aqidah or the ideology of Iran, not as simple Shia as the historical or the old Shia. No, their Shiism or so-called Imamis or Rafidis have developed a lot, and they adopted so many heretical, is this the right word? Beliefs. Okay, so there are some fundamental problems with that, and we know that Iran has an aim, has a mission, which is what? To control the whole Middle East, same as Israel, and they want to even forcefully convert the Sunni Muslims in the vast majority of the population around in the Middle East, to convert them to Shiism. We have seen that Iran, as they said, now we control. They said they said it in 2006 or 7. Yeah, they said we control Iraq now, we control Damascus, we control Beirut, and we are controlling Yemen. Okay, and we have seen that whenever they, like Yemen now, they led Yemen to a state of civil war. And Yemen, unfortunately, this forgotten country is facing, according to UNICEF 2024 report, it is facing the worst humanitarian crisis. I think Sudan's crisis is worse than Yemen or equal to Yemen. But anyway, they are the worst in the world. And one of the key factors of this is the involvement of Iran. So I can go on and on talking about the crimes of Iran. Similarly, I can go on and on explaining the crimes of Israel. But the question is, which will be better for the Middle East? Yeah, from a macro perspective.
Or
that
less
we
bad.
Sorry?
What do you mean less bad?
Less bad, okay. Less bad, or okay. That we have two powers, yes, two powers busy with each other, fighting each other. We have Israel, and Iran is resisting it. Okay? Don't count on my words here, because some people say, no, Iran is not resisting. Iran is conspiring with Israel. But at least it is confirmed now that we have the Iranian project or agenda and the Israeli agenda, and there is conflict, and they are somehow conflicting with each other, fighting with each other. Or this is the situation. Or one of them, okay, especially Israel, to take over and to be the master of the whole Middle East. In the first scenario, when there are polarization or multipolar powers, at least the Sunni Muslims can maneuver. Okay, we have seen this. Before the fall of the Soviet Union, Muslims have more space to maneuver because we have America as a superpower, we have the Soviet Union as another superpower. But now America has hegemony over the world. So it is controlling almost, okay? China and Russia, they are until now are they are trying to challenge America, but in reality, America is the main superpower in the world. So when there are conflicts between different powers, this will give more space for Muslims. Okay, imagine now, and let us move to the real question, which is, what are the possible scenarios? The possible scenarios. Now, see, the worst scenario for our ummah is that the Iranian regime to be replaced by a Western puppet regime. Okay? By Western, I mean America/Israel, a Zionist regime. Imagine.
Some people might say, do you mean like the some of the Arab Gulf states?
Some like the Gulf states, like, sorry, one of the, or some of the Gulf states. Yeah. Okay. What will be better for our ummah? That Iran becomes like some of those Arab states or Gulf states, yeah, or Iran at least is not completely like that. No one would say, no. We want Iran to be another Zionist state, because this regime, the current mullah's regime in Iran, if it falls by America/Israel coalition, then it will be replaced by what? By who? Either the son of the Shah, Rida Pahlavi, or another puppet. That will be worse for the Gulf states, let alone I'm not talking only about Gaza and the Palestinian state, Palestinian situation, no, for even the Gulf people, for the whole area. Okay? And there is another dimension. If imagine that Iran, this regime has been replaced by, as we said, the Western puppets, so Iran will not be resisting. Iran will not be an issue for the West, for Israel. Israel now will be who will be the next target of Israel after Iran?
Well, in their greater Israel project, I suppose maybe Turkey or...
It will be Turkey.
Yeah.
It will be Turkey. Yes, because the number of barriers, okay, are being dismantled one by one. Okay, and they are dividing the ummah. Okay, and they are taking over one by one. So it will be Turkey and then Pakistan. I read some of the analysts. They were discussing what was the link between these attacks on 28th of February and the visit of Modi to Israel. Was it 3 days before that? Okay, a few days before the attack. Was there any link? Also, in analyzing the geopolitical situation, I like to ask questions for people to think. I don't claim that I have the answers. Also, those who claim that they have the answers, I prefer that they don't push for one scenario or one analysis. Yeah, because there are so many. Sorry?
To the exclusion of others, they might ignore other.
The situation now is so complicated, that it is not easy to say, well, that is it. This is the okay. And even if someone claims that he has the knowledge, etc., he might come up with one analysis for what happened in the past, but the future changes. The changes now, the global changes are so rapid now.
So what are the questions you're asking people?
Is there any link between the visit of Modi to Israel? Is there any link between the conflict between Pakistan and Afghanistan? Yeah, are those linked? Is this part of a bigger picture that America now want to finish Iran, to remove the threat of Iran or alienate the threat of Iran, control the supply of or the global supply of petrol that is coming from the Gulf, yeah, and to strangle China, as we said, and also they want India to join them somehow against China. Don't forget that there is a conflict between India and China, and to alienate Pakistan, because Pakistan there is a conflict between Pakistan and India, and Pakistan, as you know, has some links with China, so they want to alienate Pakistan. Okay, so I am asking those questions. I don't have the answer, but and even if someone claims that he has the answer, I prefer, as I said, to leave it open, and they leave it open. Again, the key thing, the main issue is for us as Muslims to start thinking strategically about the future. What can we do? What shall we do? And see, for us as Muslims in the West, see, we can do a lot. What I want to say is that Muslims should not say, well, we are weak, we cannot do anything. Yeah, and that's it. Just let us just watch. Is this really what we can do? Just watch and make dua in this blessed month of Ramadan? Or no, we can take some other steps, especially for us, for Muslims in the West. Yeah.
So what are those things then? So you said earlier on, don't talking about Khamenei in terms of, are you happy of Assad and so forth, it's not the right question. The right question is, what do we need to do as an ummah instead?
Yes.
So what do we need
Yes.
to do as an ummah?
Yeah. For example, I always divide what we need to do into long-term, medium-term, and short-term. Okay, long-term, definitely the ummah needs to be more united. Okay, the ummah needs to be powerful militarily. The ummah, in terms of economy as well, the ummah needs to be powerful in terms of education. The ummah needs to be powerful even in terms of its position within the international law. Any dimension of power, we need to have that long term. And we also, maybe this necessitates that the tyrants, we should find a solution for the tyrants or the Western puppets who are acting as obstacle towards the reform of the ummah, or uniting the ummah, or empowering the ummah. Okay, this is as a long-term solution in brief. Now, as a short-term solution, I am just giving some examples. Can we put pressure on our governments to behave in a particular way? So, for example, can we put pressure on the UK not to participate in any aggression? Yeah, Muslims in America, can they put pressure somehow? Can they raise legal cases against maybe Trump? Yeah, against Israel? This is something that can be done. Can we maybe put pressure on Muslim countries, despite that we categorically disagree with certain policies they have, but for them to work together, yeah, as a short-term solution? Can we start maybe asking, maybe I was thinking just out of the box, if for example, scholars in the West, they can come together and they can, for example, visit Pakistan, visit Afghanistan to calm things down in order to, okay, something like this. So what I'm saying is that we need to start thinking of what we can do immediately to minimize or of course, I don't know whether we can stop such thing from happening. I don't like to say it is way beyond us, because in history we have so many examples of small movements that led to major impact, major global impact. Okay, but at least we need to think, and we need maybe we need, I'm not talking here, by the way, of course, humanitarian aid. You know, if we help our brothers and sisters in Gaza, yeah, people are suffering in Gaza. This will help them as a short-term solution, helping the brothers and sisters in Yemen. Okay, so Yemen will be independent from Iran, yeah, or at least the Yemenis, they will not they will not be converted to Shiism. We can participate in giving them da'wah. Yeah, Muslims can do that even in non-Western countries. Same thing to Sudan. Maybe we need to be more active in writing and pushing Muslim countries to work together, yeah, to form allies. Maybe we can put pressure on Turkey to play a better role, yeah, in the current situation. Maybe Qatar, Malaysia, something like this. So what I mean is that if we think freely and if we think out of the box, I think we can come up with things that we can do, yeah, short term. Of course, there are certain things that can be other certain things that can be done that can help, which is raising the awareness as we are doing now, yeah, raising the awareness about the situation. That will encourage more Muslims to take part in any positive movement. Yeah.
So, Sheikh, you talked about, okay, Muslim unity, but and obviously, as a regime, Iran has been very, problematic and in its violence towards Muslims. But what do you say about Muslims, Sunnis, and Shias working together and cooperating when it comes to, shouldn't the Muslim ummah, kind of work together with Shias as well included to
Yeah.
kind of fight the scourge of Zionism, for example?
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is an interesting question and a very valid question. The main issue with working with the Shia, yeah, is trust. Okay, they don't trust us, and we don't trust them, and yeah, because history has proven that they can easily stab us from the back.
But are you talking about a particular group? Because
I'm
there
talking
appears
about
to be like quite a range of different. Some people are like really anti-Sunni-Shias, and some are just very similar to us. And
I agree. But I'm talking about the Iranian regime because it is the spearhead of Shiism in the world, and no real Shia movement, big Shia movement that is independent from the Iranian regime. Yes, there are some groups in Iraq, Arab Shias, who are trying to be independent from the hegemony of the mullah system in Iran, but they are not that effective globally. So what I am saying is that there is a trust issue. Yeah, there is a trust issue to the level that and I know that so many people are questioning the support Iran showed to Gaza. Was it a real support? Okay. Some people say, yeah, no, it is real. And some other people say, no, they have an agenda behind it. It is not fi sabilillah. We should not look at it at face value. Yeah, look what they have done in Syria. So why will they be different in Gaza or in Palestine in general? So I'm not saying this or that, but I'm saying this is an example that there is a huge trust issue, and that prevents real cooperation from being established. Although I have to say, as Muslim Sunnis, we have the ability to work with any group that is different from different in Aqidah from us. Yeah, we have no problem with that, and our Deen gave us strong tools to be able to do that. And we have done it throughout history. Okay. And even throughout history, if you look at the Abbasi Caliphate, for example, the scholars, the early scholars, they never asked the Shia to leave the Islamic Caliphate and to build their own state, because geopolitically this is madness. Because you have created, if you do this, you would be creating an entity that will cause problems for you. Okay, so they managed to contain Shia, and they managed to contain other sects. So the possibility for us as Muslim Sunnis to work with different groups is very high. But as I said, the problem now is the vast majority, or I can say there is a good majority of the Muslim Ummah. They don't trust Shia. Shia here, I mean Shia led by Iran. Yeah.
mm-hmm. So you see now that some people are saying that this is actually one of the objectives of the U.S. Israel-led strikes on Iran, which was to get Iran to retaliate and spread the retaliation to other states in the Middle East. So we've seen Iran now attacking U.S. bases in, like you mentioned, Bahrain, UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, or attacks towards Saudi Arabia. And now there's a possibility of things bubbling over, even if attacking bases belonging to France and the UK, reportedly, although some of those have been denied. Now, what are the different? Do you see
Yeah.
the Arab states? You say that they don't trust
Yeah.
Iran's favor of Shias
yeah,
historically, but they've appeared to trust the US. They've been giving them billions, trillions for these bases, for these, kind of security deals to protect them, probably from their own people more than anyone else. But now the bombs start flying to those bases. The US, the Americans have run away, withdrawn their people from the bases, and left those Arab regimes to
yeah,
take the hits. So, do you think now that there is a possibility now for them to introspect and say, look, the US isn't really kind of protecting us, or the only reason we're getting attacked is because of the US bases? Do you think there are cooler, more strategic heads in those
yeah,
countries that will say, wait a second, when we need to rethink this relationship and maybe even have come to some
yeah,
um, uh, kind of understanding with Iran?
yeah. See, see. To be honest with you, when I look at the strategies, the different strategies of Iran, I really ask myself, do they have strategists? Yeah, do they have strategists? Of course, I know it is a country and it is inheriting the Persian Empire, definitely. Okay, but sometimes when you are powerful, you become blind and you act in a very silly way. Yeah, and we should not be bugged into the micro plans or maybe strategies. And look, Iran is trying to be a nuclear country, okay, a nuclear power. Iran is they built this what is it, strategic missiles, and Iran has maybe the second or third or whatever strongest army in the region, etc., etc. Yeah, see, let us look at it from a macro perspective. Iran did not leave any Arab country to be its friend. Agree or not? Yeah, Iran has no Arab country that is really can be allies with it. They forced, yes, but not out of a strategic alliance. Yeah. So even Yemen now, they are forcing the Houthis on the Yemeni people. The Houthis, by the way, how many of them? They don't constitute even Zaydis. If Zaydis are not Houthis, but it is the stupidity of Ahl Sunnah globally that they left the Houthis, they left the Zaydis to be hijacked by the Houthis and by the Iranians, by the Rafidas. Okay, otherwise they are not. So, yes, Iran is forcing itself on Yemen through the Houthis, through the proxy, but in reality, people don't like the Houthis. A few of them, yes, but the vast majority are not, because the Houthis are trying to change the aqidah, the religion, the practice, the norms of the vast majority Sunni, Shafi'i Sunni Yemenis. Same thing in Iraq. Yeah. Now, so many people in Iraq, so many Shias, there are so many reports that the Arab Shias, they are now hating the Persian Shias, the Irani Shias, because they have seen that their country is failing because of the involvement and the hegemony of the Iranian regime. Okay. And of course, the whole Muslim world have witnessed what Iran has done in Syria. Okay. So Iran, they are motivated by their hatred or by their agenda, and this agenda made them to use the hard power over the soft power. And this is their arrogance made them blind. They used the soft power to spread Shiism in the world, that was more effective. Yeah, and that was a threat. And this is what we say, that it is the rahmah of Allah Jalla wa Ala that makes tyrants blind from seeing ABC, like what happened to Fir'aun. Fir'aun, he was a tyrant, the tyrant of Egypt. He followed Musa alayhi salam, and Musa struck the sea, and the sea turned to become what? Land for Musa. And this is the qadr of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Okay, the mu'jiza that Allah Jalla wa Ala gave Musa. Okay, فَقُلْنَا ضْرِبْ بِعَصَاكَ الْحَجَرَ. So Musa went through, okay, with his people. Now Fir'aun have seen this, and Fir'aun just accused Musa of being a magician. Yes or no? Okay, Fir'aun just for a second think that maybe this was a magic. Why did you follow Musa? Musa is a magician according to you, and maybe this is magic. This might be a trap. But his tyranny made him blind from seeing basic realities. Iran, why did you do all of this in Syria? Why did you do that? You want to force Shiism. The vast majority of people there are practicing Sunnis. If some accepted Shiism because of fear or because of bribes or financial gains, the vast majority will not do that. So are you so stupid to think that you can really occupy or you can convert Syria to become a Shia country by force? And this is the outcome. The people, okay, revolted against Bashar al-Assad, and alhamdulillah, they got rid of him. You Iranians, and here when I talk about Shia, I talk about the Iranian Shia, okay, the extreme Shia, okay, just as a disclaimer. You are doing the same thing in Iraq, yeah? So what kind of strategy you have? What kind of strategy you have? Now, even I don't know what kind of strategy they had when they hit these Arab countries, Gulf countries. Have they, they weigh between masalih and mafasid? Because definitely any person who is not a super analyst, a strategical analyst, he will see that now Gulf countries will not support Iran whatsoever. In fact, they will be in favor of seeing Iran and the current regime destroyed and removed. Yes or no? Okay, but Iran somehow they believe that they will gain out of this more than what they lose.
I mean, what's reported as the military calculus? What's reported as the military calculus is that if they attack, whenever they attack so-called Israel, they recognize that Israel can take and it has the the infrastructure to take the hits as long as America is supporting it, and supplying it and propping it up.
Okay, so what are they getting?
So switching tactics ostensibly to turning against America i.e., American bases and American proxies
but it will
in
be
the region
seen
to make
even
it more
they
costly for Americans to
no
support this from afar.
even they attacked Oman, and we know that the foreign minister of Oman, Busaidi, he is the one, Badr Busaidi, he is the one who was trying to
Negotiate.
negotiate and have a deal between the Americans and
I'm just
the
saying
Iranians.
that's how it's being presented, and you know,
Yeah.
the calculus.
So that is why I'm asking, what do they really gain out of this? Yeah. And you don't, okay, you hit the bases. What are you gaining from hitting the bases? There are no strategic equipment. They said, I read that they are attacking the censuses, what is it, census, yeah, or in those bases that sends their missiles. Okay, maybe, yeah, but is this really a strategic? Of course, they have their strategists. Okay, but the person is asking this question: what are they gaining? And because we should not say that, oh, they have their own strategist and they think, long term, because we have seen how they behaved in Syria in a very stupid, unstrategic way. So are you telling me now that their strikes against the Gulf countries, are they strategic and the gain out of that, okay,
Well,
overweigh the loss?
well, one of the things that to kind of remind ourselves is this has become more now since the assassination of their head of state. It's become more an existential issue for them now. So when somebody is cornered into, between a rock and a hard
Yeah,
place,
yeah,
that's when
yeah.
they'll fight to absolute kind of. So there's that consideration as well. I mean, historically, when it comes to Israel, they've been very, very, very muted and
If
what
it
would
is,
I say, strategic in escalation and so forth. But
yeah, but
now they
that
had a
doesn't
state.
make sense, Salman. That doesn't make sense. Existential threat that they are facing, it doesn't mean that you increase the number of enemies. Okay, and those enemies are surrounding you.
So what do you
So
think is
what?
going to happen now? So one of the things I like to get from you, Sheikh, whenever we talk is because you're
So
far more plugged into the news and
I
analysis in
see.
Arabic language. So what's the mood on the ground from
Yes.
kind of Arabic
So from what I
media and
read
so
and
forth?
I gathered is that the worst scenario, as I said in the beginning or just a few minutes ago, the worst scenario will take place if the regime in Iran is replaced by Western puppet or American puppet, okay, or Israeli puppet or Zionist. Yeah, this is the worst scenario. The best scenario, that will be better for the Muslim Ummah in general, despite the Muslim Ummah in general, now they hate Iran more. I don't know, I guess. Okay, this is not statistically proven, but I guess because of what they have done in the Gulf, etc. Yeah. The best scenario is that the regime will absorb the hit. They will replace the top leaderships that have been assassinated. They said that Israel/America, yeah, hits managed to kill 38 top leaders, yeah, next to or aside from Ali Khamenei. So the best scenario is that Iran they managed to absorb the hit or the hits of or the attacks of America and Israel, and they continue. surviving, which means that they will continue their nuclear program, ballistic missiles program, and so on. Yeah, and they will remain as a threat to balance the power in the Middle East. Okay, they will continue posing a threat for Israel and for America. This is the opposite scenario. Allahu Alam, I don't know, okay, where things will move. There are reports that Turkey is trying to interfere with America, Erdogan himself, with his influence, to try to stop the escalation of the war. Allah Alam whether that will
What's the
happen or
mood
not.
on in terms of the Arab news and the Arab policymakers and analysts? You know, are they not saying that these Arab countries that are where the bases are that are being attacked, that they could exert some leverage over Trump to
There are news like this, but it is not confirmed. There are news that they are, exercising some pressure or demanding that Trump really replace the regime in Iran. There are reports like this. Allah Alam
do
whether
you think
those
they
reports.
do
I
you think
don't
they have
think.
any leverage?
Yeah.
Or are they just
Yeah.
purely puppets?
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, I think at least some of them, without mentioning the names, I think they will be in favor of that. Yeah, they will be in favor of that. Maybe some of them, they might see the bigger picture and they might say, well, if the Iranian regime was completely replaced by a Zionist regime, then they are going to suffer more. Yeah, a possibility both directions are there, as you know, and it is very unfortunate that Arabs are not on the same page. Yeah, Arab leaders are not just on the same page. Yeah.
Okay, inshallah. So, you know, from the perspective of Khamenei, going back to his assassination, what do you think the reaction is going to spark now in other Muslim countries across the world in terms of, because, like you said, there's there a lot of kind of Shias around the world. They looked up to him as a kind of head of their movement globally. What do you see this
See,
precipitation in, and how should we navigate that?
yeah, there are two sides here, or there are two elements here. The first element, I would like to say that, see, hitting Iran, replacing the regime is a very strategic goal for America/Israel for the reasons that we have mentioned in the beginning. And one of those reasons, I don't know whether it can be called strategic or not, is the fact that as they did with Saddam, yeah, they humiliated him, so other leaders to become afraid of doing anything against America/Israel. Yeah, so maybe they want to achieve this as well. So no Arab country, no Muslim country will think of having any nuclear program. Yeah, Turkey, Pakistan, or even other Muslim countries or Arab countries. This is a goal. But back to the question, which I feel that it is a trivial question. We should not really give that much attention to it. But let me answer it in order to help our brothers and sisters how to think Islamically about these matters. We have mentioned the crimes of Shia Rafida / Iran. Okay, here I have to insist. I mentioned in my talk, I don't know whether it was published or not, that Shia is a wide spectrum of subsects within Shiism itself. Is not one hegemony. Okay, it is not one sect. No, there are many divisions. From one side, they are very close to us as Ahl Sunnah. From one side, they maybe left the fold of Islam. Now, see, we as Muslims, we as Muslims should, let me summarize it, speaking about Khamenei. You know that al-Hasan al-Basri and others, and as you said, you pointed out that I have written an article that it is Muslims are allowed or even sometimes celebrate the death of Ru'us al-Bid'ah, the tyrants, those who caused a lot of harm and damage for the Muslim Ummah. Muslims should feel happy that such people have been killed or died or eliminated. And this is also applied on Khamenei, because he was one of those mubtadi'ah, if not those who left the fold of Islam, who caused a lot of damage and harm for the Muslim Ummah. Definitely. Okay. So this is one angle. But from another angle, the problem is his death is celebrated by our enemies, who committed the genocide. Okay, so those who committed the genocide and so they are actually celebrating his death, and his death is actually in their favor. So they benefit from this. So yes, we are happy that he passed away or he was eliminated. Okay, we got rid of him. But on the other side, we are worried that this will be used by those who want to continue the genocide against the Muslim Ummah, or those who want to colonize the Muslim Ummah. So they will use this as a means to colonize or colonize the Muslim Ummah in one way or another. And the Muslim brothers and sisters, as many scholars have said, he can look at the case from two different angles. And he should, and this is very unique for Ahl Sunnah, by the way, that they can manage between disliking and liking from different angles. Yes, so as Ibn Taymiyyah said, the thief, for example, the thief, or any criminal, he's punished from one side, but from the other side he has rights, and we should give him his rights. Okay, it doesn't mean that he is a criminal, he does not have rights whatsoever. So these are two different angles. Same thing, yes, from one side we are happy that one of the Ru'us al-Mubtadi'ah, or one of the evil people who caused a lot of harm for the Muslim Ummah, has passed away, killed, eliminated, whatever. This is from one side. But that killing at that moment is benefiting those who want to cause more harm for the Ummah. So from the other side, we should be This is how we should look at it.
That part is clear. You mentioned Sheikh, but in terms of now the consequences, there's we're seeing kind of and some people are predicting that there's going to be lots of kind of maybe terrorist attacks in random kind of places now because of that anger amongst some of the followers and so forth, in maybe even the UK, in the US, in these countries now where this thing is spreading.
Yeah.
The How has it been presented in around the Muslim world? In terms of how has this presented itself around the Muslim world in terms of not just happy or sad or whatever, but in terms of what's the consequences now on the ground for community cohesion in different parts of the Muslim world and so forth.
Yeah, some Arab analysts are talking about it, that there are possible retaliations or or attacks like this of that nature from Shia slash Rafidi slash Iranian. Some other analysts, to be honest with you, they doubt this. They strongly doubt this. And they say that Iran and Tashayyu in general, Rafidism, are at their weakest point now. Okay? Both possibilities are there. Anyway, as I always say, we should really look for what we need to do in order to protect our ummah, and not just only protecting our ummah, but promoting our values and presenting our deen and our divine values as an alternative for this oppressive global system that we are witnessing now.
بأنك تقبلني يا كريم